In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform your equation into standard form. And now I want to go through the three forms for your linear equation of a line. And the first form that we learned was slope-intercept form. And that form is y equals mx plus b. You have to know these three forms, so I just want to review real quick. And then point slope form was the second form that we learned in our notes, which is where you have a slope and then inside of your function a random point on the line, not specifically the y-intercept point on the line. And then the last formula here for the equation of a line that you could represent would be standard form. And there are two rules with standard form that you have to maintain to be true when you finish simplifying for standard form. And number one is that you are not allowed to have fractions or decimals in your equation at all. You need to have whole numbers or integers. And then for number two, it says your a value in the front, which would be the coefficient in front of the letter x, has to be positive. So your lead term has to be positive. And so what I'm going to do is show you 6 examples of how to transform your line. So for example, the first 3 are slope-intercept form, how to transform to standard form. And then I have 3 in point slope form, and then also how to transform into standard form. So let's go through these 6 examples on transforming your function into standard form. So the first thing that I'm going to do to move this 5x over to this side with the y, because if you notice, the lead term is your x followed by the y term, so I need them on the same side of my equal sign. So I'm going to start by adding 5x to the left side. When I do that, I have 5x, that term, plus the y term that was there, now equal to the number 2. And this is actually it, you're done, because in standard form, we have no fractions, so no fractions, check that, and my ax term is positive. So that got checked as well. Now for this second equation, we have y is equal to 3x minus 8, and I'm going to do a similar order of operations here to inverse operations, to solve by subtracting the 3x term to move it over to the same side of the equal sign with my y, because I want my x in the front followed by my y term, then my equal sign, and then my constant. So now I'm going to have negative 3x plus a y is equal to negative 8. And now everything about this is great, except for I don't have my lead term in the front, my a term, it's not positive. And so what I'm going to do is divide every term by negative 1. And when I do that, I'll have a positive 3x, a negative y, and then a positive 8. And now this is the standard form for that function because I have no fractions and I also have my lead term is positive. Now in this function, I notice I have fractions right away. And so the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that fraction, well, both of the fractions, and I'm going to do that by multiplying everything by 5. So as long as we do everything, it's a legal math move. So 5 times y will now equal 2 times x, because this 5 and that 5 will cancel out. Plus then my last term, 6 divided by 5 times 5. Again, your 5's cancel out, which is why we multiplied by 5. And now all of my fractions are gone. So my next step is going to be similar to the other 2 steps that I did here, and that's to move my x term to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract it over. Now I have my 2x term in the front, followed by the y term, equal to my constant term, my number term. And now my task, again, is to make sure that my a term is positive, because I have to make sure that that rule that I have was met. And so I'll do that by dividing every term by a negative to get rid of the negative with my x term. So now I have positive 2x, a negative y term, negative 5y, and a negative 6. And this would be standard form for my function. Now what I'm going to do is transform my point slope equations into standard form. So in this case, I have a couple more steps because I have a distribution happening here, and so I'm actually going to distribute first. So we have y plus 3 is now equal to negative 5x plus the number 10, because a negative times a negative makes a positive, and 5 times 2 is 10. Now I'm also going to solve for y because I don't want my constant over here. I want it on the right side. So I'm going to subtract 3 over next. Now I have y is equal to negative 5x plus 7. Now if we wanted slope-intercept form, this would be slope-intercept form, we would be done. But we don't want slope-intercept form, we actually want standard form. So I'm going to convert just like we did these first 3. So my x term is on the wrong side of my equation for standard form. So again, this was slope-intercept form here. But if I add 5x to the other side, this would be a 5x term, a plus y term, and an equal to a 7 term. This would be my slope-intercept form of that function. But again, if they had asked you, like in other questions that you'll see coming up, slope-intercept form, then you would have stopped there. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the same process, turn it into slope-intercept form, and then convert to standard form. So I'm going to distribute my slope, which is a minus sign, a minus 1 first. So negative x and minus 2. I'm going to add my 1 to this side, and this will get me my slope-intercept form of the line. So again, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, that's this form. But I'm not asked to put it in slope-intercept form, I was asked to put it in standard form. So I'm going to do that transition next. And so I'm going to add my x to the correct side of the function for standard form. So a positive x plus the y term that was already there is equal to negative 1. That is our standard form, not slope-intercept form. That pink highlighted was slope-intercept form. The yellow highlighted is the form we want, standard form. All right, now for the next one here, I'm going to distribute my negative 2 slope from my point slope formula. So now I have negative 2x minus 4. I'll subtract the 3 over to turn this equation into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So this is slope-intercept form. And now I'm going to add 2x to the other side to join my x and y on the same side of my equation. And now I have my standard form. And this would be it. So the only number that has to be positive is the a value. Any other numbers can be negative. See here, you can have a negative y, you can have a negative y and a negative constant, you could have just a negative constant, but only the a term has to be positive. And then again, no fractions allowed. So I hope that's been made clear. If you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher.